Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Inner Conquest, the world's greatest modern metaphysics channel. So today I'm going to be talking about what I call creating a spike in between your thoughts and emotions. So you extrapolate dimensional space, which I believe is very important for understanding kind of the optics of the proper way reality works versus an inverted reality. And what I'll talk about is essentially, when you grow up, you are trained to be a slave to everything around you. That's the whole story in the Old Testament of the land of many gods, right? So like you're trying to get fit, so you got to do the right diet. You're trying to be successful, so you got to, you serve the master of getting the right job or whatever it is, right? You're always looking to go outside of yourself for fulfillment. And it's an inversion of reality because this realm was really designed to be the antithesis of what we're not, right? So everything is extroverted and inverted. So when you start to regain control of your life and your power, specifically through what I talk about, which is the lens of metaphysics, which is hidden physics, which are physics that are hidden to the unseen eye, but have very real, tangible effects, you begin to invert your reality back to the original power position of being the operant power, right? So it's like, why were you this way? Well, this circumstance happened and this happened and now I'm this, right? And then when you invert that, why are you this way? Well, I was thinking and feeling this way chronically, and I had a reflection or a reverberation in my reality that came out of me because I was thinking and feeling and focusing this way, and I created that, right? So see how that inversion works when you look at the different optics of reality? So when you are recreating yourself and or basically making yourself a new version or upgrading your story or upgrading a new aspect of your reality that is an aspect that maybe hasn't been where you want it to be, what you will do is you will inevitably run into the state that you've chronically dwelled in that is unwanted, right? So it's like if you are dealing with, say you're not healthy or something like that, right? You have a bunch of excess weight and you start to identify as the most ripped Greek god version of yourself, right? What's difficult for the inverted logical mind to understand that has been trained through an experience of reality the opposite way is when you start claiming that you are something and your physical reality doesn't showcase that, what happens is sometimes you have a hidden linchpin that won't allow you to accept something because you're still validated by the external world, right? And you don't want to take that in like a tongue-in-cheek way, like, oh, dude, you're just worried about external validation. Like, no. Like, give yourself some grace, because if for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years plus, you've used the external world as your emotional temperature gauge to allow yourself to feel, which is just awareness of conscious states, right? Think about what feeling is. Feeling is your awareness of a state which can be qualified by its emotional context, right? So if you're feeling something, you're aware of a state that is either in alignment with what you want or in alignment with what you don't want, right? Alignment with harmony or alignment with disharmony. So if you say, I'm ripped, I'm the most Greek god looking person on the entire planet, and then you look in your reality and you still have an unwanted body or whatever, then you have to put a wedge between what you're thinking and feeling, right? So if you look at yourself as the operant power, what you are doing is you're taking that power from external circumstances and you're basically absorbing it back into yourself to be refocused on a wanted story or framework or emotional state or mental movie that is what you want. But what will hinder that is that old state has, you could call it magnetic, you could call it, stickiness, you could call it whatever you want, but it has a propensity to pull you back into it, right? So what happens is you'll say all these things, but you're still feeling and thinking, having the old thoughts or having the old feelings and all these different states try to almost attack you. I mean, it literally can feel like an attack, right? When you're changing that, because you're like, your mind is like, who has the audacity to say that, they look like a Greek god when you're really out of shape or whatever, or, say you are a millionaire when you have no money in the bank, right? That's your old reality trying to influence you and try to dictate to you who you are, right? So you have to make a mental stand that consciousness dictates reality. It's not that reality dictates consciousness, because when you invert reality to an improper, distorted view, it would be that reality dictates consciousness, right? Which is, you can't be this until you are this in the third dimensional world, right? Which is the opposite of how reality is constructed. If you look at things from the yogic perspective of subtle to gross energy creations, which is really just a scientific approach of like, if I have a bunch of water and I want to turn it into a frozen luge so me and my buddies can do beer bongs out of it, right? Like I have to shape the water and I have to crystallize the water and I have to hold it in form. So if you have an unwanted body, it's just essentially thought and emotion that has been crystallized into unwanted form. So if you want to operate on a permanent, more leveraged position, you have to put the emphasis on who you say you are, right? And that comes with authority in your own reality, which comes from understanding that consciousness creates reality. Reality does not create consciousness. And a good example of that is, right, if I think of everything that's been created around me, then I am a being that has the ability to create. Because if I think about something for a long time or a short time, it will manifest, go from unseen to seen, meaning that if it's in my mind, it's considered unseen because you can't see what I'm thinking, right? And then if I think about something for a long time, right, you see this with like criminals. Like they think about murdering somebody and then they murder somebody and people are like, oh, he was such a nice guy, he just murdered somebody out of the blue. It's like, no, there's a reason there's a category called premeditated murder. It's because you think about it for a long time and then it compels you into action and compels you into results, right? So your emphasis is always on who you are. And what that means is that if you identify as something and your reality is not showcasing to you that reflection, then you need to put a wedge in between your thoughts and emotions and basically say, all right, I am that I am, right? And I am this wanted version. And then you have a thought or emotion come and attack you and say, no, you're not, you suck, you're not worthy, blah, 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 right? All like the court jester, like coming after you, right? You have to be able to have a sharp indifference towards thoughts and emotions in that way. Because thoughts and emotions are building blocks of reality. If I hold a conscious state and I focus on it, it will clothe itself in reality. That's how thoughts turn into things, right? So you have vibrational crescendos that gain momentum and then they manifest themselves physically, right? It's like if you have people who get sick, right? You focus on not feeling good all the time, and then the more you focus on not feeling good, the more things your reality gives you not feel good about, and then you see all of this evidence, and then you start saying, or a doctor tells you that you are a sick person, and then you begin to identify as a sick person, right? So like when you are protecting the most sacred part of yourself, which is your identity, you have to be a little bit ruthless with thoughts and feelings. And that's why a wedge spike in between your thoughts and emotions and your I amness is important, because that gives you a power position to use thoughts and emotions kind of like you would Legos to build a reality, right? That impersonal approach to thoughts and emotions doesn't mean that you don't have thoughts and emotions. That's crazy, right? That's a huge aspect of being alive, is being able to feel and being able to think and all that stuff. You just want to be able to consciously choose the states and thoughts that you frequently use, right? You want to have a prioritization system that allows you to think properly from the end without being dictated to by the universe. And the way that you do that is you put space in between thoughts and emotions, and you completely do not identify with anything that's not wanted, right? Oh my God, I feel like crap. I'm such a piece of junk for not doing this today. I need to, no. I am the person who does it every single day. Now, if there's zero evidence around you, it's okay, because the evidence is a reflection. The importance comes from understanding that who you are thinking as being, right, has to be stabilized chronically throughout the day in a wanted version. And nothing will permanently change until that is established, right? Building your house on rock instead of sand, excuse me. Okay? So when you put that spacing in between your thoughts and your emotions, you are now not reacting to any of them that are unwanted, and then you are intentionally feeling into wanted states, right? And that takes a little bit of time because those old states can come and try and nip at you, but the more and more spikes you put in between it, right? And all a spike is just a hard denial of identification, right? You have a wave of sadness come over you, right? You're like, okay, well, this is a wave of sadness. It's a real thought, it's a real emotion, right? But I do not identify with this. This is not who I am. I am someone who always feels the way they want to feel. And I'm someone who always, has what they want to have or whatever, right? And that simple phrase reiterated over and over and over again will decouple and basically pull out the fangs that old state has in you, because it's leached into you, right? So you're not going to get rid of it by fighting it, engaging with it. You have to cut it out at the root, and you have to build the space, and then you have to maintain your power position as the I am this, and you consciously identify only with wanted. And you have to be able to do that without any external validation until it crystallizes, right? And when's it going to crystallize? When you fucking believe that that's how it is, right? So you're doing a self-hypnosis job to some extent, but you're also maximizing your defensive potential. Because if you read Neville Goddard and you talk about, hey, you get impregnated morning, noon, and night by 5 husbands, that whole weirdo, type of story, what he was trying to get at, and he could have just used layman's terms, is if you allow the universe or anything else outside of you to tell you what you are dominated by the universe. Doesn't matter if it's something positive or something negative. If you don't consciously choose to accept that identification because you want to, that thing will enslave you 100% of the time. So you need that spacing. It's like a moat around your castle that allows you to vet different states and different thoughts, and then you choose the ones that you want to choose. And then that gives you the ability to build life the way that you want to without being super reactive all the time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave comments with questions. The Spartan 1 free optimization protocol is available on the link tree. Additionally, there is, if you want to work with me one-on-one and do the whole protocol, there's the full optimization stuff. Go through the free one first, read everything, and then you'll see the offer at the bottom. And then if you want to purchase it, you can go to the link tree and purchase it on that second thing. And then additionally, all the coaching and all that good stuff is still there. So if you want to do emails, coaching, etc., all that info is in the link tree. But the most important thing I had to say is go conquer. I'll see you in the next one.